I swear the house breathed that morning, slow, steady, like it was bracing itself for the storm walking through its front door. I was standing in the hallway, sipping coffee from an old porcelain mug, when my older sister, Laria, snapped a measuring tape across the living room window. The sound cracked through the air like a warning shot. 31 inches, she announced proudly, as if she'd just claimed a piece of land in some forgotten empire. Her husband, Trent, nodded like an obedient clerk and typed it into his phone. Perfect for the blackout curtains I found, she added. This room gets way too much sunlight. Sunlight. I'd spent 6 months waking up in that sunlight, building the kind of quiet mornings most people only dream about. And there they were, measuring, planning, claiming, like explorers mapping a continent they thought was abandoned, only it wasn't. They just didn't know the truth yet. That I leaned against the doorway, stirring my coffee, watching them plan their little takeover of a Victorian house that I had legally owned for a year and a half. Bought quietly. Restored quietly. Lived in quietly. Because in my family, the minute you show success, you stop being family and start being a bank. Raina, my mother called from the kitchen, you'll need to clear out all this old furniture before we move in next month. Move in, into my home. She walked past me with a clipboard, opening drawers, making lists, behaving like the elected queen of an estate she didn't own. That cabinet has to go. And someone should call the utility company. Someone, meaning me.as, if I was the unpaid employee of a house they believed belonged to all of us. My father wandered out of the old study, arms full of dusty papers. The lawyers took too long settling the estate. Now look at this place. Completely unused. Unused. The night before, I'd fallen asleep in the master bedroom reviewing plans for a commercial acquisition. This morning, I'd attended virtual board meetings from the dining table where my grandmother once braided my hair. Unused, right? Laria held up her binder. Yes, a binder, labeled Heritage House Project. We'll update the master bedroom first, she declared while marching upstairs. That hideous wallpaper has to go. Hideous.it was custom William Morris print I'd ordered from England. Cost me the equivalent of someone's small car, but sure, hideous. And this carpet, she kicked the antique Axminster beneath her feet, we'll rip it out. I swallowed the urge to laugh. Or scream. Hard to tell which. Her husband photographed every piece of antique furniture I'd spent months restoring, documenting it like a crime scene. We'll need a dumpster rental, he muttered. My mother threw open a closet. Laria, darling, this storage setup is unacceptable. We'll gut the whole thing. Unacceptable. It had been featured in a magazine for its custom design, but my family didn't see the artistry. Or the effort. Or the ownership, they only saw opportunity. At 2:25, I slipped toward the front window, pretending to check my phone. In reality, I was waiting. Timing everything down to the second. Because at 2:30, like clockwork, the doorbell rang. My father frowned. Who is that? Paperwork, I said. The courier handed me a thick manila envelope. Inside, everything necessary to end the fantasy unfolding in my living room. What paperwork? Laria asked, suspicion dripping from her voice. I opened the envelope slowly, letting the tension stretch like pulled wire. Then I slid out the title deed and placed it in my father's hands. He read aloud, his voice growing hollow. Raina Elling, sole owner. Purchase date: January 2023. Purchase price: $1.6 million. Silence hit the room like a dropped chandelier. My mother blinked rapidly. There must be a mistake. No mistake, I said, pulling out the mortgage documents, insurance forms, tax bills, my paper trail of 18 months. Everything's in my name. Laria snatched the documents, scanning them, searching for a loophole that didn't exist. Raina, you can't afford this. You work in tech? Right? I let out a slow breath. For 3 years, you've all assumed I fix printers in a cubicle. I run Elling Systems. 48 employees. 21 million in annual revenue. Trent's phone slipped from his hand and clattered onto the hardwood floor. My uncle, who had arrived with a contractor to start planning renovations on my house, went pale. Raina, we didn't know. You didn't ask, I said. You assumed. Laria's face tightened. We were measuring curtains, for your house? Yes. The contractor cleared his throat. I should, probably go. Good idea, I said that my father stepped forward. Reina, don't do anything dramatic. We're family. Family doesn't plan to move into someone's home without asking, I replied. Family doesn't schedule demolition crews for a property they don't own. I held up my phone and pressed play, audio from the smart home security system, recording their entire takeover plan. Their faces fell. That's enough documentation, I said. I'm contacting the police to record a trespassing warning. No charges. Just clarity. 20 minutes later, Officer Hale stood in the foyer, writing notes as my family gathered their measuring tapes, binders, and shattered pride. When it was over, the house exhaled, peace returning to the halls. The consequences arrived quickly. Laria and Trent had nowhere to move once they realized their lease was ending. They ended up in a cramped apartment far from the neighborhood they envied. My uncle's contractor friend got blacklisted for almost demolishing a protected property. My parents found themselves fielding pitying looks at social clubs, and me? I finished restoring the house. 6 months later, it appeared on the cover of Heirloom Preservation magazine. My family found out the same way the rest of the world did, online. The old measuring tape Laria left behind is still in my junk drawer. A quiet reminder that some people will try to build their future on top of you, if you don't claim the ground you're already standing on.